welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangouts, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, tune in iHeartRadio, as well as for those watching on YouTube. Matt Iwanyk with you here. Joined today, Wil Fraser, Redbeard Scott Laurie with us. Gents, how are you guys today?
Really good.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you told me Scott was going to be here, I was like, oh, okay, so we'll enjoy ourselves. That's good.
Yeah, I have to make up for Tommy not being here.
Usually it's just you, and I'm just like, all right.
That's where I always think I need a third. What's wrong with the audio levels right off the bat?
Been a while since you had to do a mixer board, hey?
Well, we keep switching, so no, you got to go into the settings, click 2, and bring me down that way.
Switching.
We switched the boards.
Who's we?
Well, me.
Thank you. I thought it was a royal we. I was pretty sure it was a royal we.
Well, we switched the boards around.
You and King Charles.
So that we use the better board in the main studio.
Yeah,
and it's working better. But now but then this board has to go on location with me every single day.
Right.
Or every Elks pre and post game. So when I come back, I got to change the setting, mix with it. But we just can't be consistent with it. So peeking over there.
When will your life ever get better, Matty? That's
when I figure this out. Actually, it's actually pretty good right now.
Okay.
Because
thank God. Oh, wow.
First place, baby.
Yeah.
First place. Wow. As Jared in the Nasty Chat says, 7B champions.
Yeah.
We were Group 7B. 7B traditional. We went and we won the championship.
So did all four of you get a trophy, or?
Yes.
You, all four of you did get a trophy?
Yes.
Okay, because I honestly was a little upset if it was only one trophy.
Oh, and I just took it?
And you were the one that took it, of all the four people.
I'm going to be the one that's going to
carry it. I can't hit anything bigger than a 6-iron, that they would let you have. So I'm glad to hear that everyone
we had
there's
a bigger trophy that we all took a picture with, but then we each got an individual trophy. And when I won this a couple years ago, the best part was the individual trophy I got that year had like a golfer on top of it, swinging. But two of us, the guy didn't have a club.
Shouldn't you be drinking from that today?
Yeah, I was.
Why do you have a red cup?
Exactly.
Because I haven't cleaned it.
Just pour it in.
I haven't cleaned it.
Oh, knock it off.
I'm not following.
That is not how champions react, buddy.
No.
Yes,
I do not need you to rinse it, Zach, because ultimately I don't need to be getting sick this week.
Why would you get sick?
I don't know. I'm not risking it. I don't know.
Fill it with alcohol. It sanitizes itself.
Basically,
we're
cleaning
good.
itself.
We're good. Yeah. It's ruining my championship here. Boys are making me feel like championship's going bad and all that.
We'll have you doing shoeies.
Well, congratulations, Matty.
We'll have you doing shoeies by the end of the hangout.
I'm glad that you were able to rehab enough to make a significant impact for your squad.
Yeah.
I did what I usually would do almost.
Yeah.
I'm not a guy that's bringing a drive ever.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm not going to be a driver with the group that I'm in.
I called it this morning. I was like, so what'd you contribute? A couple of putts? He goes, a couple of putts.
Couple of chips. I can't do the guys I'm with. They're really good.
Sure.
Kyle and Ryan especially. Jared had a couple of really good drives and stuff.
Yeah.
They were there. We all had some nice putts.
They must have had some pretty good drives because they weren't using any of yours.
Yeah. Well, they're good golfers.
Yeah.
Good golfers.
Like, I'm not even going to take my club out on the tee here. I'll meet you up there.
We are unofficial 3 straight champs, 3-peats.
Wow. What makes it unofficial?
Because last year they announced a winner and we're like, our score's better. And we went up and said, our score's better.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're right. And they realized that they screwed up.
That's right. You were the guys that took it seriously.
We wanted to win again.
Yeah. You guys are a good hang.
No beer still after.
At a best ball golf tournament. Yeah.
No beer still after.
I think actually people were not happy with us.
Oh, really?
Well.
Oh, really?
One buddy won.
At a best ball tournament that you guys were throwing a snit about it?
We actually.
And people weren't happy about that?
I'm talking about this year. Last year, no one knew that we brought that up. That's why it was unofficial.
No, you've only spent the last year talking about it. So they knew this year. You're right.
We better give it
they came into the tournament this year like primed.
These people, there's clients like they're great people.
I don't know if you're allowed to use that. Jeez, that's problematic.
Okay, so last year we didn't make any. See ya, Gager. Last year we didn't make this massive fuss about it, but then this year, one of my buddies, he won a really nice cornhole game. Another buddy won a nice TV. And then we won the 50-50.
Wow.
And we won the tournament.
Yeah.
So people weren't happy with us.
Nor should they be.
Why? It's not our fault that they picked our numbers for the TV cornhole game and the 50-50.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's not your fault.
Still not happy with it.
Exactly.
I don't care. We still got the trophy that says first place, 37th annual Franco's Golf Tournament, 2024.
Well, I'm glad.
No one could take this away.
I'm glad you guys were joy vampires out there.
Not invited back.
You've been in this tournament for a number of years.
Sucking the fun out of every other. Like, we had a great time. It seemed like everyone else. Not as much fun as we were having, but not my problem.
Well, you want to know something? Go be better and go win a golf tournament.
Good point.
That's it.
Go win it. Go get minus 17.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not minus 16.
Yeah.
And you would have beat us, and we wouldn't have had that trophy. But we've got that trophy.
I like it.
And we're unofficial three-peats.
Awesome. I'm so happy.
And I look forward
you.
to next year winning this again.
Yeah, that's great.
We're going to go four-peat this one.
Yeah. Sounds like your entry might get lost in the mail.
Yeah.
No, they would have stopped us for a number of years.
Yeah.
We keep coming back.
They might have a committee meeting about it. Yeah. Come on.
Final
No, we got to let them back in. They can't be that bad for a third year in a row.
You don't know them.
We're just champs.
They are sitting around a table right now going, holy cow, they were even worse this year.
There's nothing you can do with the door prizes and the 50-50. We just won those.
Okay, great. Congratulations.
Thank you, Will.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm not going to take that in any way, other way except genuine.
Exactly.
You were genuinely saying, well done.
Yes.
So hopefully the audio level's now all nice and sorted out. Credit to Zach for coming in and fixing those things because I can't do it from here.
Right.
You're just trying to ruin this, but you're not going to. You're not going to. You know me.
Yeah.
It won't ruin it.
No. I know for a fact you're the only one who can ruin things.
I don't think I did. Jared in the nasty chat, who was part of the team, Kyle and Ryan.
The teammates think we're
I think
awesome.
those three. I think if I asked those three, how was your day yesterday?
If I really narrow the focus of my survey, I'm going to find the results I need.
I only knew one other person there yesterday. I saw him. It was a nice chat with him.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I hope he had a nice day.
Yeah.
But at the end, I only care about Ryan, Kyle, and Jared. And I think they had a fun time. I think they had a great time. Jared, did you have a fun time? Jump in the nasty chat and let me know.
Yeah. Actually, you've been on a roll lately. Like you come off.
This.
Yeah.
No, you come off of this win.
Oh, well,
and then
my morning today.
You had the greatest opening to a morning ever.
I was driving into work today, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of cop cars like jumping curbs and like pinning this car up and stuff, and they're getting this guy come up, and they tased some guy.
No.
Multiple times. I heard the and then more cops come and they're jumping the curb, and this is as I'm waiting a red light to change to drive in here to the station, and thankfully another cop car was coming because the light changed to green, and we couldn't go because we're waiting for this cop car, so I got to sit there and watch it a little bit longer.
Holy.
I have never seen someone get tased in my life.
Yeah.
It's a different way to start your day.
Yeah.
When you've got a bunch of cops out with taser gun out and firing them off.
I equate it to the scene from Old School when Farrell tranks himself in the neck, and who's the actor from American Pie? It's just yes. Like it's those types of moments. Those types of moments where you're just like, yes, just saw a guy ride the lightning. Day's gonna be awesome. And then I said to Maddie, like, it doesn't matter what happens today. You know someone who has a worse day than you.
That guy is having the worst day.
Yeah, like your levels are off, and you may have been tempted to say, man, things couldn't get any worse. But in the back of your head, you're like, I know exactly how they could get worse.
Yeah, that guy's still feeling it right now. He's slowly pulling
right now, there's someone in emergency, like removing the barbs from his skin. Yeah, no, he's still having a bad day.
How many did you take?
Yeah.
Justin Balgoni saying, "Welcome to downtown, Matty." It was not downtown.
No. Yeah.
It was
That's
really
West
close
Sider.
to the West End.
Yeah.
It was residential area almost, just with a major intersection and stuff. So that was not downtown. So it was a fun morning.
Good way to start the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't even think of it though in the way until Will came. It's like somebody's having a worse day than you.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, you're right. No matter what happens today, the internet could drop all of this, but I didn't get tased.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yet.
You didn't just get a trank dart in the neck.
The day is still young. The day is still young. Yeah. Post-show show.
So Jared, great time, was a little fatigued to start because he was up till 2:00 in the morning. The boys rallied hard to lift up their fellow teammate. So yeah, we did that for him. And then Kyle saying, "Don't let Will steal your joy, LOL."
Yeah.
See, they're all good. My teammates are good.
Listen,
My teammates are happy.
You are the king of stealing joy. I could never assume to take that crown from you.
We executed perfectly as a group. All vibes, says Kyle.
Great.
right.
Happy for Kyle.
Good.
Yeah, I'm happy for Kyle too, and Ryan, and Jared, and I don't care about anyone else there.
Good. I bet they're drinking.
I'm gonna win.
They're drinking out of their cup though.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Right?
Yeah. Had a little Fruit
I'm
Loops
sure
out
they
of it
are.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
True
wanna,
champions.
I don't want to get sick, he says.
Yeah. It may be a little dirty.
What do you think is in there that you need to wash it?
I don't know.
It's the same stuff that's in your red Solo cup. You didn't
Exactly,
wash that.
dude. It's all plastic.
Yeah.
Or gold. I'm sorry.
I mean,
I don't want
gold.
to. I don't want to ruin
The illusion.
I don't want to ruin the illusion for you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. It's clearly made out of gold.
Yeah, pure gold. It's really heavy. Don't lift it with your bad shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just rehabbed that.
And it held up okay to start.
Yeah.
So the slow process to next year, where I'll fully be golfing, it's going to be a fun time. So
Oh, for you four. You're right. It'll be a fun.
no, for me, for golfing, just the golf. I mean, that was my first golf round since Labor Day last year.
Wow. Good
So
for you.
I'm getting back.
Yeah.
I've rehabbed. It's getting closer. I'm ready to go. Giving myself one, maybe two more rounds this year, and then I'll be ready to go for next year.
That's great.
And then you will see me on the course a lot next year.
Yeah, little golf. Play quarterback for the Jets. Who knows what else is in your future after a rehab like that.
So Scott, how are you?
I'm good. I'm real good.
How was your trip?
It was awesome. You know, it was a great way to kind of tour around Greece and Scotland and hit as many breweries as we could and different beers.
Is that where they told you were? Like, 'cause they're not. Those are not next to each other.
No, they're not. No. It was a bit of a. I got married in Greece 19 years ago.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, so we thought we're not going to be back over that way. My daughter's 18. She really wanted to go to Greece. So we went to Scotland for a birthday party.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just go to Greece because it'll be nice and hot. And then we'll go back to Scotland and deal with the rain and the wind and you know, that kind of weather. So yeah.
So your daughter has seen Mamma Mia. And she was,
a billion times. A billion times. Yes. So we need to go there.
Yes, yeah.
So we crossed that off for her.
Good.
And, I love Greece. I love Greece. I mean,
sure.
No one's ever said I hate Greece.
Right.
But Santorini, it's an amazing spot. Kamari, where we were, is slow. Get up in the morning, go to the bakery, get coffee, and all. You know, it's just the right speed for me.
I know some people from Turkey who might disagree with you about the Greece thing.
Sure. I mean, anyone from here?
Yeah, exactly. No one's ever said they hate Greece.
Right. You're right.
Except for...
You're right. I clarify. Yeah. No one's ever gone on vacation to Greece.
Yes. Yeah.
And said it's awful.
That's right.
There we go.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. No, it was good. It was good. And Scotland was Scotland. I mean, it was. We had one really good day of sun.
Yeah. You didn't look any of the locals in the eye.
But it was awesome. Scotland's great.
A group of 9-year-old boys come up to you and go, "Those are nice shoes."
No. We were well up in the Hebrides. It was very very calm. White sand beaches, all that kind of stuff. We spent one day in Glasgow, one day at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Went to Ibrox. It was under construction, so we couldn't get in. But
Right.
had to look at that.
Did you take in a tattoo?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. No. But that's on right now.
Yeah.
At Edinburgh Castle.
That's right.
A what?
a tattoo. It's when you bring in your clans, and you also have like pipe and drum celebrations. And,
Oh.
Yeah. The Edinburgh tattoo is so in front of Edinburgh Castle. There's just this giant. Like they create like an amphitheater with stages and stuff. So right now the Edinburgh tattoo, it might be just over, is on, and they'll have pipe bands up and down from all over the world, and it's amazing.
Lots of Canadian groups,
and they'll have one song that they'll like
Highland dancing,
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and Edinburgh is the coolest city. I think I haven't been everywhere.
Well, it's a university town.
It's a very
right?
cool city.
Yeah.
You have Old Town, New Town, so like everything new on the shopping and everything like that, and you cross the river, and it's like you go back in time. Cobblestone streets and tons of cool pubs.
You don't go back in time. You reach an area where time doesn't exist anymore. Yeah,
it's really weird. Like it's so cool. And the streets, and there's like you can go underneath Edinburgh. There's and see like the old. They buried the town. Basically buried Edinburgh in the plague and everything. So you can actually go underneath and see the old closes, narrow streets, and stand in it. Edinburgh's a very cool city. You should go. If you've never been,
and there's golf courses, Matt. So maybe
one or two. There's one or two golf courses.
They kind of like their golf a little bit.
Yeah.
We went to an Old Tom Morris golf course. So up where my mom's from is one of the first Old Tom Morris courses he designed. On Uist, and it used to be the sheep were walking on it. Like now you can play it, and
you're only allowed to use a shillelagh.
Exactly. Yeah. You need the local knowledge. No, that's not the hole. That's the farmer's croft.
Yeah, exactly.
This way. Really? It looks nicer over there. No, this way. Okay, good. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of stuff to do there. But yeah, Scotland's. I love it.
That's great.
It was fantastic. Yeah, lots of family and.
How was it being there during the Euros?
It was good. It was good. We, not having to get up weird times and stuff. It was good this year, but, watched the final. We had a house rented, so we had some people over to watch that. And, it was the summer. There was so much good soccer on with the Copa and then the Euros. It was great. It was perfect.
Yeah. What did they think of the Copas?
They weren't really paying attention.
No, of course not.
No, not like the
world doesn't pay attention to Copa.
And the Copas proved why they shouldn't.
That was the only thing they saw was the disaster that the stadium was and everything else. But they didn't really. They say Argentina's playing. Yeah. That's kind of what they're paying attention to. And
CONMEBOL hasn't done a good enough job of trying to show that this is the second biggest tournament outside of Euros in all those confederations. Yeah. And they've allowed it to slip, and everyone knows the Euros, everyone loves the Euros, but no one knows Copa unless you're in the region.
And just even the production, like you just watch it. Yeah. It's not the same. It's not the same money put into it, all that kind of stuff, right? It's they were watching Canada a little bit because Alistair Johnson plays for Celtic. Mm-hmm. So there was a little bit of that with my family who are Celtic. So they said Alistair Johnson's been like their best player, first name on the team sheet. They were super thrilled with him, not knowing what they were going to get after him playing in the World Cup. So
I thought I liked him, but sorry. What? Rangers for life, so.
I'm Rangers.
He's Rangers.
Oh, yeah, I'm Rangers.
No, he's Rangers.
No, my family's all Celtic.
No, he's Rangers.
I'm Rangers.
Oh, thank God.
I'm Rangers, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
They're Celtic and you went and visited them?
They are all Celtic. My dad was the odd man out.
I would have thought that's the reason why you cut off conversation.
No. That's why we went to Ibrox. That's why we didn't go to Parkhead. Philippe Clement is doing. We're one draw, one win so far this year. So Rangers will be okay this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's Scotland. So.
Yeah, it's two teams. So we'll finish first or second.
It's broken.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's
about
totally broken.
It's about getting to Europa and what you do in Europa and all that stuff.
That's where you got to go.
Yeah.
Champions League.
No, we're not. Yeah, we're not that right. They should never be in the Champions League, right? Like we're not good enough.
No.
Well, if you win the league, you then go into the playoff, or if you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just gotta go win the league.
Yeah.
It's just
no problem. We'll win the league.
Yeah, and
we'll win the league.
Get their heads kicked.
Yeah. Get a little bit of money. Go back to Europa. Yeah. Hopefully do well in Europa. Get a little bit more money. Yeah. It's just chasing.
Nice run at Europa last year.
Yeah. 2 years ago, we won the final.
Yeah. Get in there.
Yeah. But 8 new players this year. It's a very different team this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just too good last year's players left?
No, last year was a bit of a mess. They needed to change over. New coach halfway through, and
that's always fun.
He brought his own players now this year, so it's we'll be better than last year.
United with the big win to start their campaign this week, beating Fulham. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You're wearing the red for Manchester United.
No, I am not.
That's where I'm going with
You
that.
have blue jerseys this year? It's really weird.
Their away or something are not good. Yes, I think they're bluish.
Which is, I don't get it.
Really? See, I'll.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you should still keep your dominant colors. But, man, I wish more sports.
But they're
Took
thirds.
a European football approach where it's just like, yeah, man, every year we're bringing out new kit.
I love it.
I think it's
That's their
fantastic.
third.
I love their third.
I have to get this one.
I like the third. I love that logo, the red devil.
They're
logo.
using that, and then the colors of it works really well. The blue screams goalie for me.
Well, and I think City when I think of blue, right?
Yeah. So although they have a new sponsor, Snapdragon, and it looks nice.
Okay.
Like, that's the weird part about soccer is you get the logo, and you want a good sponsor logo.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it was Team Viewer for the last couple of years and just seemed a little off.
Yeah.
Chevy was too big.
Yeah.
Snapdragon works. I don't know. That just works with the
It
jersey.
looks good. I agree with you. Like having having
Have
the
a new kit every-
Like, if the Oilers
year.
came out and said, here's our home jersey, away jersey, and third jersey this year.
Yeah.
And then next year, here's our third home and away. Here's our third home and away. And you're constantly changing it.
It's interesting.
People would buy a lot of them.
North American fans thinks that it would devalue your jersey that you buy, and actually what it does is it increases
100%.
the value of it because it makes it unique,
Yep.
right? When you see somebody in kit from like 1989, you're not like, ooh, that's an old kit. You're like, oh man,
I love that one.
And you know
that
the
was
year,
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Or like,
You remember the year,
and
too.
you remember
Yeah.
the year
That's
and the record.
That's the '94 Liverpool
Yeah,
jersey
exactly.
that they wore
Yeah.
that year. That's what a great jersey
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it leads into, like they do the redesigns years later
Yeah.
where they could draw off the inspiration
Right, exactly.
of that.
Yeah.
And they still
It's-
look like their kits. Like that's the like you can still tell like their home jersey. It still looks like a Man U jersey. Still looks
Yeah.
like a Liverpool jersey. Like so they can be different. It doesn't have to be
Oh yeah, like
totally off.
Ranger fans get far more upset if they change the socks than if they if they change anything else.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true.
Because that's when they're like, gotta buy new socks. These were my lucky ones.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still wearing them underneath the other ones. I'm still gonna buy the new ones, but I'll wear them underneath. Yeah.
Well, and then you could get the nice pictures that are done up where you have the jerseys from all the years. And like people do love seeing new jerseys in hockey when we talk about third jerseys or whatever it is.
Yeah.
People want those.
Not only that, but
And so now if you did it every year, there'd be the people complaining, cash grab and all that, which is, it is.
sure, man, it's called professional sport.
But you
what
also
about
don't
it
have,
isn't a catch?
You don't have to buy
No.
the new one every year. Like, to me, this year I look at the United jerseys. There's the one that I'm like, I want that one. Like, it's the first time in a couple of years that I'm like, I have to have that jersey, and I'll go get that jersey.
Yeah.
Not only that,
And then I can wait until the next one comes out that I'm going, that's beautiful. I need that jersey.
It also makes you properly price it in your emotional involvement to it. Like it seems in this town, anytime a jersey is changed, there will be a solid 25% who are visibly upset at whatever the change is. It doesn't matter what it is. Whereas if you knew every year it was going to be different, you would chill out. You'd just be like, dude, it's just 1 year.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want that one. I'll wait till next year.
Yeah, exactly.
They could just relax. Detroit just keeps coming the same. No, it's different. I promise.
Well, there's the story of when Adidas or whatever took over the jersey and they were doing all those big redesigns. They went with ideas to the Red Wings, and the Red Wings were just like,
Yeah.
we just do the same. And then, but we have this. No, the same.
Yeah.
Just do the same.
Yeah.
Like, we just want the same.
Ted Lindsay wore that. That's what we're going to have.
Yeah, exactly.
There's very few teams out there that have that ability to just be like, we're just going to run it back.
But you know, it's
Part of it is
like,
because Montreal has gone the exact opposite, right? Montreal has always embraced tweaking and changing. And so the Habs, part of your Habs identity is the fact that there are different sort of seasons to the jerseys, right? Whereas you're right, the Red Wings
do not. No. They're not changing.
No, I think the one change they had to do recently was putting the captain on the other side or something because of ad sponsorship.
Right, for space.
That
because it was always on the opposite side of everybody else because the wing went up.
The wing comes up and it touched it or something, but I think I can't remember. Maybe I'm a little off on that one.
But you could see like a team, like the new teams, like Seattle, like the Kraken. I could see them coming out with a new jersey every year, and people like going, "That's awesome," or the little tweak to the blue. Like their jerseys are fantastic.
The only time you should ever be pumping the brakes on a jersey is the moment after you've won something in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason you should be pumping the brakes on your looks, is when you go, oh, no, actually now we have something to celebrate, right? We have...
But that also makes that jersey special.
Yeah, so then...
no, true, but
move aside from that.
But it's also why you can have an emotional attachment to it, right? I saw my team win something in this. Whereas if, for example, if you're a San Jose Sharks fan, you should not care about your jersey, right? Like, you should just be like...
That was the year we made the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Again. And
Hey, they got to a cup final.
Yeah.
By the way, what are they doing?
Let's get into that now. Let's get into Hangout Headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and
What are they doing?
Offering premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time today by visiting theranchgolf.com. So you want to start with them and then get to the Oilers on all of this? As the Oilers yesterday making a couple of moves. Vasily Podkolzin.
Yep.
I'm not good with names. I'm not going to lie. Oilers get him from the Canucks in exchange for Ottawa's 4th-round selection 2025 draft. Then they go get Ty Emberson in exchange for Cody Ceci and Edmonton's 3rd-round pick in next year's draft. The Oilers only have a 6th and a 7th-round pick next year in their draft. But
both of these moves make complete sense for I get why the Oilers made them. I have no idea what both Vancouver and San Jose are doing in these trades.
Well, I think for Vancouver, here's a player that maybe they're just not seeing the upside. If you look at some of his numbers, they're going trending the wrong way, and we can get a different asset for it. Let's move on. I could kind of get that one. San Jose, it's just, here's a young defenseman. Yeah, we'll take the contract you're trying to get off the books in a third. It's just Mike Greer, I think, is really proving that he doesn't have a clue what he's doing as a GM to start.
First of all, both teams are in the same division as the Oilers, and the Oilers are over a barrel. Yeah. What are you doing?
Why help them?
Throwing a lifeline to the Oilers. It makes, if I'm a Canucks fan today, I am furious. Yeah. I am absolutely furious that my team just threw a lifeline to the team that knocked us out of the playoffs and looks to do that for the next several years. Like you were sitting there in the driver's seat going, you should have been just eating your popcorn and watching them suffer. And instead you've helped them with an out. And not only that, but you gave a 10th overall pick for a 4th rounder.
For nothing. Really.
I will take someone who can fog a mirror over a 4th rounder any day of the week. And I don't know if Vasily Podkolzin will ever play a game for the Oilers, but I know he can put a jersey on. I know that he has actually gotten NHL experience and scored NHL goals. You can't say that about a 4th rounder.
Yeah.
A 4th rounder is the biggest crapshoot there is. It's just kind of one of those ones that you throw that in as a sweetener for someone to retain $100,000 in salary. It makes no sense. And then on top of that, you just help a division rival. And the San Jose thing, unless they're looking at Cody Ceci and thinking that they can parlay that into a 2nd rounder at the trade deadline, maybe, but they're actually out of their retention slots as far as being able to retain salary. So what NHL team at the trade deadline, when they've run out of all of their cap space and they need to make a deal and they look, Cody Ceci would be some nice insurance in the playoffs, but San Jose can't retain any of the salary, right? So they're either going to have to include a 3rd team, which will then cost them assets to get another. It makes the San Jose one it's just pure. Mike Greer is a sacrificial lamb of a GM, right? This is a guy who has just been brought in to make San Jose as bad as they possibly can be for as long as they possibly can be. And at a certain point, they're punting him, right? Because he's going to have all of this on his track record that you're not going to be able to convince anyone that he's the right guy to turn the corner for your franchise.
Unless he starts turning the corner at one point, they get to that point. Because I will say this, I'm not saying he is Joe Sakic, but there was a point where Joe Sakic, everyone thought, deserved to get fired. That the Avs weren't doing anything under Joe Sakic.
No, you're right.
They weren't going anywhere. And it was like, what are you doing here, Joe? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they turned the corner.
Yeah.
And he won that Matt Duchene trade, and he built, lost Patty Waugh, like he left, brings in Jared Bednar, and they turned into an excellent franchise.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he's one of the top executives in the National Hockey League.
Right.
Maybe that it's just right now we're looking at Mike Greer going, this guy doesn't have a clue what he's doing, but all it takes is that one season, all of a sudden things turn around.
Yeah, I like how I like that you are trying to find silver lining in this very gray cloud, but San Jose does not. Part of what the problem was for Joe Sakic is that they had talent in their roster and were underachieving. San Jose doesn't have talent in their roster.
No.
Like that is an automatically bad team. Like whatever they get wins this year will be considered a bonus.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Colorado, they go from a 100-point team to was it 60 points the following year? Like it was that sort of like that sort of up and down that had people going, what is Joe Sakic doing? San Jose is not going to have an up and down.
The Avs also had like the worst season in like the Cap era.
Right. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
They were a very bad hockey team.
Sure. And they also got lucky, right? Like and as we've seen with the Oilers, you have to get lucky.
100%.
Right? You can't just hope that you're the smartest guy in the room. You also have to roll a 7 every now and then. The Oilers did that with Leon Draisaitl. Avs did that with Cale Makar. Like you have to be able to.
Something.
You gotta go and say, that guy we thought was going to be really good. No, turns out he's a defining one of the greats of all time, right? And that's where you get lucky. Like you don't get lucky with a Nathan McKinnon. You don't get lucky with a Connor McDavid because they're exactly who we thought they were going to be. It's that secondary layer that you get lucky on, right? And we saw that in this town that for a long time they didn't get lucky. They had nothing but bad luck.
Well,
right?
that's what San Jose feels like. It's like a bunch of high draft picks that it's like Edmonton was, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
At the start of all of this.
To cycle through all those, they should be better this year. They should be better this year. These guys are all young, and then they all just kind of disperse. And it's like, you can see it, history repeating itself with San Jose almost, right?
Well, and I also wonder how much San Jose and Anaheim and the last several years that they had influenced what Nashville did this offseason, right? It felt very much 2 years ago like Nashville had gone, okay, we had our run. Mm-hmm. We didn't achieve what we wanted to, but we got pretty far. It's time to suck for a little bit, and then we'll rebuild. And it seems like they looked at San Jose and Anaheim and went, oh no, that thing has a gravity to it. Mm-hmm. Like if you start to suck too much, it consumes your franchise.
It's your identity.
And so obviously they got a little bit of lucky last year in getting above average performances throughout their lineup and went, let's not suck. Let's see if we can just throw some money at a problem and at least maintain some sort of competitive window for their franchise. So yeah, I think the Oilers, the Sharks, the Ducks, soon to be the Calgary Flames are all the cautionary tales of, you should get bad, but you shouldn't get too bad.
Well, and that's it. Like, do you have to suck to be good now?
Yeah.
And maybe you don't. Yeah. Right. Like in some of these old, like you're saying, some of these older thought processes of, okay, we'll be bad, but you can't. How do you get out of it?
Right.
Like, and Edmonton showed that you can't necessarily get out of it, and the only reason you get out of it is because you get lucky with.
Buffalo was in the same type of thing with the Oilers, a couple of years behind.
Yeah.
They haven't even made the playoffs.
Your identity becomes we suck.
Yeah.
And then it's hard for those players to think, okay, we're good.
Yeah.
And so the only way you get good is to bring guys in that think they're good.
Yeah.
Which costs you money again, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think that the old thought process of suck for 2 years and then be good for 10 doesn't work that way anymore. I don't think. I think you have to kind of maintain a level of competitiveness to be good.
Well, it's going to be interesting on that front. It's going to be interesting what happens with the St. Louis Blues. Mm-hmm. If the Oilers do end up matching both those offers and starting today, they have the flexibility to do that if they choose.
Yeah, I got to pull up what Puckpedia says.
If you're St. Louis, like that was your big play.
Yeah.
Right? That was your sort of like, let's skip the line.
Yep.
On sucking, right? Like let's bring in some 23-year-olds who are ready to contribute right now.
Especially on our team.
Right. Yeah. And now you don't have that. And so do you pivot? Like if you're St. Louis, you've kind of The off season's done after this. You don't have another play. So do you pivot? Does all of a sudden, does a Colton Parayko become the most sought after trade chip on the market after this?
To get 2 or 3 bodies?
Or more.
More,
I mean, you look at a team like Toronto Maple Leafs and tell me what the Maple Leafs shouldn't give up to go and get a Colton Parayko.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, I mean, and if I'm St. Louis, I mean, I'll take a bad salary to make the trade work, but I'm looking for picks and prospects and more
Talent
picks and
back.
more prospects, right? So,
well, and the other Oilers, they can do it now with I think they'll keep both. They can do it. It's
amazing to me that
it is.
So if
they just
the
have to send one
Oilers
guy down,
match
I think.
both offer sheets, Kane has to go to LTIR, and one player 800,000 plus cap hit in the minors, which could be
Brown,
Emberson, Ryan. If during the season Kane was healthy and activated off LTIR, and this is all from Puckpedia, the Oilers could not be cap compliant by just sending players down. Would have to make either a trade or have other players on LTIR. If they match Broberg but do not match Holloway, Kane is activated from LT. And Kane gets activated mid-season, they could be cap compliant by just sending players down. So the Oilers have until 7:29 tomorrow morning to match. I wouldn't expect we'd hear an announcement until tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Because why give the Blues? Yeah, screw the Blues in that sense. You wait till the very end to say we're matching or we're not. The part that Puckpedia has there of if Kane's healthy, you could bring it back and you just have to send a player down, but you don't match Holloway. I could still see the Oilers maybe not matching Holloway and keeping Broberg. Broberg's the guy that stays, Holloway goes. They got Savoy too. They've got forwards. You move on from that one. And then what happens is Kane gets healthy in February, plays a couple games. Yeah. His no trade clause moves to, I think, a 14-team no trade clause or whatever come March 1st. You trade him.
I think that I feel like lots can happen before he gets healthy to come back. So I think they're like, you know what, we'll deal with that problem. Yeah, halfway through the year, who knows who gets hurt? Who knows what?
That's a guy who's going to have an extended conditioning stint in the minors. Like I don't. If I was in charge, I'm telling Kane that like you've got an entire off season to get as strong and as fast as you can be for the playoffs. Because I mean, you want to know why the Oilers didn't win a Stanley Cup against Florida? It's because Kane wasn't healthy. I mean, you have a healthy Evander Kane, you're winning a Stanley Cup. Like that was the difference maker.
Again, it's 2 goals.
It was two goals and also physical pressure, right? Just that downhill pressure that a healthy Evander Kane brings pretty uniquely to the NHL. There's very few players that have his combined skill set. Like, I mean, you can probably count them on one hand, the amount of guys that do in the playoffs what an Evander Kane can do in the playoffs. So if I'm the Oilers, I'm tipping my cap to the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Vegas Golden Knights, and I'm saying, hey, thanks for the research that you've done over the last couple of years. We will take your advice on this and we will apply it to our own team. And I know that's hard to do to a guy like Evander Kane, who clearly loves to compete. But Evander Kane also just lost a Stanley Cup. And I wonder how much easier it will be to convince him that this is our best chance to win one. I wonder if that's been part of this offseason negotiation of like, no, like go and get, like, you're still going to make your money and we're going to get you as healthy as you've been in 3 years. Yeah. So let's do that instead. I mean, and it works out for an Oilers squad that is going to be tight against the cap all year long. But clearly looks like an organization that has figured out how to figure stuff out.
They almost seem like they almost seem a little bit like, don't worry, we got just relax, everybody. Just we'll figure this out.
Well, I thought,
but who's expecting what was happening yesterday to come? I think everyone was
honestly thought that they would just walk from Broberg because, and I still think this, that's too big of a risk and too big of an overpay, right? My personal opinion is that you can overpay up to $1 million and $1.5 million, and I don't care. That you should be able to counteract that with underpays.
Couple underpays,
right? Like you've got a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, you've got one more year of a Leon Draisaitl. Like you are underpaying in the tens of millions for the production that you're getting. So it is okay to overpay, but that to me is a potentially $3 million overpay for Broberg. right? Like if Broberg comes in and regresses in any sort of way, all of a sudden you're going, he's $1.5 million.
Well, and what's his
hockey player?
Like, and maybe you match him and he stays, but he doesn't want to be here,
right?
Like, so who knows what his mentality is like? He
wants to play. That's what he wants.
Play. So what?
And the Oilers need him to play.
But what
if
he's not quite good enough, and they say, you know what, you're not playing whole lot, and then it's like, and now you're paying him $4 million a year. Like, I just don't trust his mentality at this point.
Yeah, see, honestly,
I look at it differently. If he comes and produces this year, you could easily flip him next year.
Sure.
Because if I'm matching him, part of the reason is it's asset management.
At that point, he's still a 24-year-old defenseman.
Next August, I'm moving him somewhere because, look, he is this defenseman. He's going to be that defenseman right at that coming season.
Yeah.
Let's flip him for an asset because he doesn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But we're not going to lose him for a second. Like, a second is just too little for Philip Broberg. So that's where I was like, for the Oilers, I think you match and you hope that it all goes well this year, and next summer you flip him. You send him somewhere else. Philip, we'll send you somewhere else. You don't want to be here. For us, we're going to get a better asset than a second.
Yeah.
But you got to go produce this season. Maybe you win a Stanley Cup this year too, and then we could just part.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Holloway one is interesting. Like, you talk about in-room dynamics and how it affects things. I actually don't think Broberg gets that much of a pushback because he negotiated such a good contract, right? That there's going to be a, hate the game, don't hate the player sort of aspect to it, from like where they're like, dude, I couldn't have said no to $9 million either if I was in your position. Whereas the Holloway one, makes me wonder a little bit, where that's a guy who was a member of that dressing room and basically took, what are we going to say here, $700,000 more?
Let's up it to $1 million.
Well, yeah.
Right, let's even say $1 million more.
I'm just saying then what he was probably worth. $700,000 more. That's one where, as fellow players, you're kind of going, dude, we all took pay cuts.
Yeah.
All of us took a pay cut to be here, right? The Adam Henriques and what have you. That's the one where I'm a little more curious to know if there is any sort of lasting friction.
And now we lost CC.
Yeah.
Who was also a guy in the room.
Well liked.
Right? Like, that they wonder and they go, nah, you guys, we could have, we could have done this a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a group, we could have done this a little better.
Yeah. Now, for Holloway's side of things, he's probably looking at them going, guys, I already took the pay cut. I took it last year, right? Like, how many times do you want me to take a pay cut to be a part of this organization?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's you're absolutely right.
One more.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
One more.
Yeah.
We expect you to take one more pay cut because we all took one more pay cut, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it'll be interesting to see if it affects things.
With Holloway, the reports are a lot that, like, he was kind of almost forced to sign the contract. Like, he was really being egged on by his agent and stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, hey, no, you should sign this. You should get going. So I think he was very conflicted.
Yeah. And I can also see the PA also, like, that's the other side of it. That there could have been members of the PA going,
cared about Holloway.
No, they don't care about Holloway. They care about the fact that it's the unspoken, like it's the known secret that this is a form of collusion that has been going on amongst the owners of, we won't touch your guy, you don't touch our guy type of thing. That if you're the PA, you're sitting there going, we got to break this logjam. It kills me every year. I see a Tampa Bay or a Rangers or any other team that's up against the cap and be able to just sit there and everyone leaves them alone. Whereas St. Louis did exactly what you're supposed to do, which is that is a rival, that is a team that we compete with for a playoff spot, and we have a chance to turn the screws on them. Of course we're going to do it.
And I don't know who said it. If Holland was still here, that doesn't happen.
Yes. Andy Strickland from St. Louis Blues Reporter.
Yeah.
He said they're very tight. That Doug Armstrong and Ken Holland very tight. So he wouldn't have made those offer sheets if Ken Holland was there.
Yeah.
See, and if you're the PA, investigate that stuff, man. Like, that is collusion. Mm-hmm. Like, it's collusion by a different form, but that's collusion if you're saying, these two guys all just kind of pat each other on the back and make their side deals behind closed doors. And, like, that's exactly what your collective bargaining agreement is supposed to be able to go after, is not allowing ownership and management to artificially deflate the prices of the market. It is supposed to be an open market to a certain extent. And when it comes to RFAs, it is not.
No.
Like, it is unfair playing grounds out there.
Why the flip, like, with that, I'd be upset if I'm a Blues fan hearing that, because I'm going, if Ken Holland's there, you're not going to do what you think is best to fix this team because your buddy's there. The flip side to that is there is relationships as a GM. And that's part of being a good GM, is having the relationships so that those things don't happen to you. That you have those good communications or the good conversations, or Doug Armstrong sitting there going, like, I got to offer sheet these guys, or like, I'm thinking about doing it. How about we work out a deal instead? How about we work out a trade instead? And that's
I'll play
that's
the devil's
flip side
advocate to the relationships thing, because I think you're absolutely right. Relationships are currency in professional sport, but your relationship should be for future currency, not past, right? And if you're saying, well, our relationship with the old GM, who's not going to be the GM anymore, would have made us do one thing, but now that there's a new management group in town, we're willing to screw them over. Yeah. That's not actually how you build relationships. That's how you build sour relationships going into the future, right? Yeah. Because, well, quite honestly, I mean, the loser out of all of this is the St. Louis Blues, in that they wasted an offseason, they didn't get the players that they wanted, and now they've put a target on their back.
Because you know something. Well,
for everyone not buddies with Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, but
he's now sitting there going.
The flip side, though, is a lot of people are buddies with Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, but all the friends of
he's part of the old boys club, and if you want
so the Bowman side, then so the Bowman friends are going to be like, don't worry, buddy.
But how many friends does he fully have? I would say
clearly he's got San Jose and Vancouver.
Yeah, like, he's got a few.
Clearly he's got a few.
You got Kyle Dubas.
You
got Kyle Dubas giving the St. Louis Blues a pick so that they could do these offer sheets.
Yeah.
So you have that group of people. You would have the Jim Nill. You would have the Steve Yzermans that would be on that one camp.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more are going to be on that other camp. I don't know how many more are going to be there that are going to want to be there for the Edmonton Oilers. So I don't think the Blues.
This isn't how you grow relationships.
Also, I will say,
but look at whoever did the most deals with.
But I will also say with Doug Armstrong, the other thing you have to remember with Doug Armstrong, for him, he's no longer GM soon.
Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah. So he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Well, come after Jake Neighbors next year. He's only got a couple more years left as a GM anyways.
Is it a different owner though, right? Like, is it a different board of governors? Like that's where we've seen with Carolina and Montreal, it has nothing to do with the general managers. It has everything to do with the ownership.
No, it's the same GMs year after year. It was 1 year, then the next year they went at each other.
But those weren't, that was not, in Carolina, that was not a GM's decision to go after.
Not first.
Like, that was an owner who decided, we're going to screw over the Montreal Canadiens. Now, it's delicious that it's actually screwed over Carolina.
Of course.
But because the GM wouldn't have made that move. Which is also why the GM isn't there anymore, right? Because I'm sure they've had discussions of why did we underachieve? And the GM goes, maybe because you keep screwing with my roster, and now Waddell is somewhere else.
Then you can go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Your roster.
Maybe Don Waddell told a little too much truth to his owner at the end of the season.
Like, the owner goes, you forget our relationship. Yeah. So you can go somewhere else. Yeah.
Laurie in the Parish Rollers inbox says, do you think other teams try to target the Blues in the future to dissuade this type of behavior? I don't think the Oilers will have the cap room to make that kind of play.
No.
But if you do it back just to try to, you're just adding more to this, and more teams will start doing this.
No.
I would think.
There is a reason why this happened to the Oilers, and it's because the Oilers did it. Now, the Oilers did it 20 years ago, but it's still...
Jeez, it's coming close.
Right? Like, but it's still one of those things that I think as soon as you break the collusion, the very obvious collusion that is going on, as soon as you as a franchise put yourself outside of that, it means you're fair game. Right? And so when will it happen to the St. Louis Blues? When they find themselves in a similar situation. So in about 20 years.
Yeah. Remember that time?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't think it makes them a target next year, but it means that they are fair game.
Well, and it could impact a trade. It could, that you don't hear about in the back end. Like, nah, this is, remember that time?
Yeah.
Where you broke the code between all of us GMs?
Yeah.
This trade's going to happen over here.
See, and I think it's more the other way. I think that what Doug Armstrong did, there's more GMs happy that he did it to the Oilers.
I just want to know
about it. They want the Oilers to get the shots at them. They want the Oilers to be taken down. And so I think there's a little bit more props to Doug Armstrong being like, you did one for us. And that's why you saw Kyle Dubas send that pick to them 20 minutes before the offer sheets were announced so that they had the pick to do those offer sheets.
I just want to know, is it Bowman or Jackson who has to fight Doug Armstrong in a barn?
In a barn. Maybe it's
Jackson.
Kevin Lowe. It's got to be Kevin Lowe.
Yeah, Kevin Lowe. Kevin Lowe's already foiling up. Going, I got this.
I got this.
He heard about the offer sheet. He walked in the office. Boys, I got you. Don't worry.
Reinstated. Yeah. Special advisor to the barn fight.
Brian Burke would have lost bad to Kevin Lowe.
Right.
Well, of course.
I'll just throw that out. 2007, by the way,
Vicious.
Dustin Pettit.
Anyone who decides to fight a Kevin Lowe is in big trouble.
Yeah.
Like, that's someone who's not thinking.
Wasn't it Vicious? Wasn't it?
Vish was his nickname.
That,
Yeah.
Don't fight that guy.
Well, I talked to people who, like, after Kevin retired, who just, like, went and did pickup games when they were doing, like, I shouldn't say drills, but like open skates before the Heritage Classic.
Okay.
And they were like, the puck would go into the corner and he would still destroy you. Like, you would still barely skate out.
So
And it's like, and it was just like open skates. Like some people are just wired different. and
wired
Kevin
differently.
Lowe is just
Wired
that type of person. Yeah.
Wired differently. There's a reason. That, like, again, like, that nickname just doesn't. Like, it's not one of those ones like Tiny.
No. No.
For the big guy. You know?
Vish. Yeah. Vish was like, I mean, the last Oiler that we saw similar to that was an Adam Larson. Right? In that same sort of like, oh, no, everyone seems to like him. He seems pretty placid and even keel. And then you would talk to guys that had to go up against him in front of the net or behind the net. And they'd be like, he's awful.
He's a murderer.
Yeah. he targets not limbs, joints. Like, he is surgical in the way he slashes. Like,
Well, it's like when Chris Morris was in here a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, man.
You listen to Chris Morris, and you're like, look at this guy. This guy, positive.
Yeah.
Bring people together and you go, oh, yeah, his nickname was C Murder when he played, and he'd go into scrums and he'd try to hurt
Find
people's
fingers.
fingers.
He would come in late to scrums. And he wouldn't go for footballs. He would go for guys' fingers and break them in scrums.
But you see Chris Morris, and you wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think that about Chris Morris. I'm sure that happens in rugby all the time, too.
I'm sure.
Like in rugby, that stuff, I'm assuming, is a lot in rugby.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually,
crazy.
no.
That's crazy
Rugby's
behavior.
a little different in that because you're constantly on the field, there is a gentleman's agreement, right? And and that, yes, there are crazy guys that like to take advantage, and their own teammates will tend to fix that, because it's that classic sort of like, dude, you're writing checks on my back.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm the guy in front of you in that scrum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This guy is pulling my nose.
Whereas
Pulling my
football,
ear.
because you come on and off the field, there's a little bit more like, your team's defensive line doesn't care what you do to the other team's defensive line, right? They're like, yeah, go murder them. That's great. And vice versa. Whereas in rugby, it's kind of like, they're going to get the ball back and then we have to do this, right? Like,
Didn't think of that. This is the EST Hangout. Matt Iwanyk, Wil Fraser, Scott Laurie, a.k.a. Redbeard, with you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Once again, the Oilers have until 7:29 tomorrow morning to match or part ways with Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, so we'll keep it locked here again. I think that will happen tomorrow. I'm not expecting a lot coming today. The official drink of the EST Hangout, it is 2 Hoots Hard Iced Tea, real brew tea, big taste, bold refreshment. Don't just give a hoot, give 2. Just want to throw out there the news from the Canadian Football League that Chris Jones is back in the CFL. He's the defensive assistant. Is it of the Hamilton Tiger Cats? He's not the defensive coordinator. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have mutually parted ways with Mark Washington, their defensive coordinator. They've hired Chris Jones as a senior defensive assistant. He'll call plays, but not the DC title.
So Hamilton said, guys, we are not bad enough yet.
I'm hearing everyone say that. And it's funny, like, you watch the Elks in this with Chris Jones and you went, I need some of that. And that's... I will.
You just got pancaked from the team that just fired him.
Yeah.
Like, that has looked like 180 degrees different since he's left. And you go, you know what? I think
Bring some of that here.
I think we need some of that energy. Whatever the good stuff is, give it to us. Yeah.
You guys are having too much fun. and looking a little bit like you're almost have a chance of winning.
It does. It feels like an owner who hates his players.
Exactly.
Is so sick of his players. It's just kind of like, oh, you thought it was bad before? Yeah.
Get a load of me.
I will defend this hire.
Good. Somebody
show. The one thing you can't take away from Chris Jones is he's always been a great defensive coach.
Okay.
Take away the keys from.
Take away the terrible person.
It's called football. It's called football. If players love playing for him.
Take away the overinflated ego, the undeserving pay, all of that. Take all that away.
Take the head coach duties away from him. Take the GM duties away from him.
Yeah.
Take all that away from him, and he's a solid defensive coach. And before he came to Edmonton this last time, he did this role in Toronto, and he turned their defense around that year.
Yeah.
That if he just has to focus on defense, I do like that move. Personally, as long as you give him the players,
it is the most CFL thing. Hey, like, well, what CFL's famous for dirtbags who shouldn't be the head coach but keep getting employed on other teams. It's like the head coach is kind of like, how can I make these guys love me more? Oh, I know what I can do. I can bring in this dirtbag, and they'll love me.
I don't even know if it's just NFL does a good job of that.
You're right. It's such a football move.
It's a football thing.
But here's the thing about Chris Jones. Like, if it was just DC, I'd be like, this is unbelievable. But it's Chris Jones, so you just naturally know he's going to be the head coach in like 2 years in the Hamilton Titans.
Oh, he's clearly...
he's in the owner's ear.
Yeah. He'll be there. He'll get the head coaching job, and he'll be the head coach again in the Canadian Football League. And that's when I go, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He deserves another shot?
Yeah.
Sure. It's not in Edmonton. Have at her.
It'll be good for Edmonton because they'll probably trade a really good quarterback to the Elks.
Well, no. Hamilton's the team that I think most people would be worried about with where Trey Ford would go sign.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, that is one square off the bingo board.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that one. That number ain't coming up.
No, that just changed. So we don't have to worry about Trey Ford now. Also, the sign next year of him with the Ticats and Chris Jones sitting there too, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, he's just a defensive coordinator. Maybe I'll still go.
No, I'm good. I don't need to be around that guy anymore.
There's actually two options. There's the one option that's not going to happen, or if it does, we all sit there and go, oh, perfect.
You know what it is?
You get what you deserve.
Well, do you know what this is? It's Any Given Sunday. Tony DeMont,
right.
Where he was against Jamie Foxx's character, but in the end he leaves.
Willie Beeman, come on.
Thank you. And he signs him as his first duty over there.
There you go. Yeah.
And also they mend the fences. Maybe there's something we don't know. And Trey and Chris Jones are going to mend the fences, and all of a sudden that's the big thing.
Wow.
And we're going to sit there and be like, whoa, didn't see this one coming.
Yeah.
But to your point, you deserve what you get then. At that.
You're right. If Oliver Stone writes the script for this, that's exactly what will happen.
Well, it's one of two things. Either Oliver Stone wrote the script for this, or Trey Ford's not going to Hamilton. One or the
Option
other.
B, I'm pretty sure.
Which would make me very happy. As long as he still signs in Edmonton, because Trey Ford needs to sign in Edmonton, and we'll see if Larry Thompson can sign him. Also, tickets looking to be going really well for the Labor Day rematch here in Edmonton.
As they should be.
So here's a question.
Just need a winner, right?
Right. They're the hottest team in the CFL.
Win some games, people will come.
Well, we said that before. Okay, if we had to look at who's the best team in the West right now at this moment,
it's Edmonton.
The Winnipeg defense is the only reason I would maybe take the Winnipeg. But I think overall, the Edmonton team might actually be better than.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous to say right now.
Until
they're still in it.
Until they get punched in the nose and brought back down to life, it is the Elks.
Yeah.
I mean, part of what's going on is the Elks are clearly such a unique offensive team right now that it is giving defenses problems.
They're not sure what they're going to do.
Right.
It's a wild card.
They are the absolutely, you can see it when the teams are approaching the line before the snap. They are not sure. Mm-hmm. They are not set and ready for what the Elks are bringing at them. And I would be tempted to say half the time the Elks aren't quite sure what they're going to be throwing at them. There's a real sort of craziness or unpredictability to what's going on there. Crazy Ivan, that's the move that I was thinking of from Hunt for Red October. Like it was the move that Russian subs would do to randomly turn left or right to see if anyone was following them. They called it Crazy Ivan, and you can see that that's kind of what's going on with the Elks. At the line is the defense is like, I don't know, like they've got 3 running backs, guys. Like, what are we supposed to do right now?
Plus, if third forward goes up there,
yeah, exactly.
Quarterback that could run.
Yeah, exactly. Like
4 running.
Yeah.
I just want to see now a college U.S. system where it's just running.
Yeah.
But you got 4 different guys that could run the football,
Well,
take it off.
and direct snaps followed by more. Like, honestly, dude, that is if I'm an OC, I am having the time of my life, because it's that classic. There are no bad ideas, guys. Like, just give me whatever you're thinking, because there's no bad ideas for this team.
Isn't that what the Chiefs do? Like, Kansas City Chiefs are famous for that. No bad ideas. What are we going to try today?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Keep them guessing.
Yeah, and it is working. It's also working because they've been so bad, right? That, like, teams have not invested a lot in pre-scouting this Elks squad, right? That this was a automatic win at the beginning of the year. So when you allocate your resources and your film time and all of that, you're not spending a lot of time on the Elks, because you know that you can go 4-3 against them just about every down and have a good chance of stuffing whatever it is that they're bringing at you. And that has changed. And so we'll see in a couple of weeks. Like, the Labor Day and the Labor Day rematch is going to be really interesting, because that's an opponent that gets to go back to back.
Yep.
And so
scout them.
Yeah, exactly. What
Get a feel
adjustments
for
do
them.
they make on that back end, right?
Here's the one business question I have for the rematch. Would you open up the upper bowl if you sold out the lower bowl?
Yes.
Or would you
No.
leave it I'm with you.
I keep it full. And make
For the
those
for the first couple of years, I would want to make it you missed out.
Yeah.
You
Make it an
Supply and
attractive
demand
trick.
type thing.
it just looks so bad.
Why? You sold out. It's at 31,000 tickets.
No, but like, just the feeling of that stadium. It is a huge stadium, and the only way that it feels good in there is when you have as many bodies as possible.
But
I don't think those extra that you're going to get in that upper bowl
It's going to
make
do
any
enough.
difference.
Okay, no,
Like, if you
that's
can
a
sell
fair
out.
that's a fair counterpoint to it. But I'm just going to say, like, you have to consider your fan experience. And so if I'm a first timer and I walk into a cavernous building, no matter what the product is on the field, it will still feel less than. Like, BC Lions have struggled with this for years, right? Like,
But we've never seen what Commonwealth is like with a full lower bowl. What that atmosphere is like, where there is no extra seat. You can't move around and sit over there.
Yeah.
You get your assigned seat, and you're gonna have to sit there because every seat's been being filled.
Yeah.
And does that build a nice little atmosphere in the lower bowl that who cares about what's happening upper bowl? You've got 31,000 together, and it makes this atmosphere.
Yeah.
And then to me, it's make this. You missed out.
Yeah.
You missed out. There's 31,000 here. You missed out on your tickets. If you want to go see them next game, get your tickets now.
Yeah.
Like, get them this season. Otherwise, we'll see an extra or something, or go get your season tickets. For the first couple of times if I was running the team, had the opportunity to open it up, I wouldn't open it up. I would keep it locked down and say, we're sold out at 31,000, and promote a sellout.
Yeah.
We've got a sellout.
all right.
I see both sides, because I mean I do. I'm with you. I keep it closed, because you said you were going to close it.
Yep.
Fill the bottom bowl. Let's create some atmosphere. But at the same time, if I've got, like, I think of me and my kids, who he's never been to a CFL game. Maybe we want to go.
Yeah.
So if we go, maybe this is the week, because they're 3-0. This is the week we want to go, and we can't get a ticket. I can see both sides going. Maybe we won't try again.
Yeah.
So I see both sides of that. But I think if you want to, I still lean towards the fill that lower bowl, create some atmosphere.
How much
It's
does
that
the lower
fear of
bowl
missing
fit?
out. It's 31,000.
31.
If you have 31,000, you go and you can't go, and you then see what a great time it is. Well, I don't want to miss that good time. Like, I think one thing that really set the Riverhawks, now last year they were pretty good, but this year they sold out the Canada Day game. It was the first time ever they sold out.
Yeah.
And then things just really took off.
Sure,
because there was the
a great
attention
time.
of, hey, they sold out Canada Day, and then people, well, you got to get your tickets to make sure you go see these games and get them early. Day of walk up might be a little tough.
Yeah.
For the Elks, they need to get to a point where you got to think ahead of time about, I need to go to this game, because if you don't, you might miss out. and build that urgency to buy tickets, because this franchise has never in the history since the 80s no urgency to buy tickets.
Though. Like you could start to basically rope off like the upper parts. Like you could start to add people in basically by row into those upper bowl areas. Like 31,000
but they won't even feel the atmosphere.
Is 9,000 away from it feeling like a good environment, right? Because if you allow being in that stadium after 40,000, it is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't need 50,000 for it to feel like a really good environment. You need 40. And so
But can you sell the extra?
But can you sell the extra 9?
And that's where I think if you're opening up, you're selling an extra 2.
Yeah.
2,500. And I don't think you're adding to the atmosphere.
It is traditionally the back to school game though too, right? Like so there is a certain amount of like first timers, like we've got entire school group type of
back from the lake in town, getting ramped.
Last year they had 32, I think, at that game, but spread out between the upper bowl.
32
and I was at the
watching terrible football.
No, they won that game.
Yeah, but
no, and they were that different team at the time. That was they actually won 2 of 3 prior going into that game, and they won that game. So they'd won 3 or 4 with that game. There was a stretch of time last season where they're playing good football, and that was it. And they got 32,000.
That's what let Chris keep his job for
100%. Yeah. That was the stretch that basically let Chris Jones keep his job, and then he turned his back on the guy that helped get that.
Do it. Yeah.
But so there was 32,000 there. It felt that way. I was there, but it was also spread out. I would love to be able to say what 31,000, but it's all lower bowl.
Yeah.
And that atmosphere and what it would feel like because everyone is tight. Because the moment you start opening the upper deck, do they have the money also to have crowd control, the security, to stop people from going, no, you can't go sit over there. We're only doing these sections.
Yeah.
That's the other question I would have to that.
Well, listen, they have a new owner. We'll see what his vision is for this team. If his vision is to make money, or even to not lose money, it's the wrong vision for the next 3 years. This is an organization that needs a long-term plan.
Yes.
And so...
And that's where you can't look at it right now for the first few games. That's where I go with it. The moment you have a chance to open up, I'm reserving it because I want to build that FOMO with this franchise.
But when you talk
so
about
that moving forward, there's an urgency to buy the Elks. Because again, as long as they've had, since the 80s, they sold out. But since then, there's no urgency to go buy Elks tickets because it's so big. You could always go get a ticket. You could always go find a ticket. You could wait till day of. You need to build that little sense of urgency to be like, well, when's the next Elks home game? Okay, we got a plan to go to that game because we don't want to miss out on that. And to create that, I think, and build that great atmosphere.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm talking if you are making your decisions based upon, do we have the money to pay for the manpower to man these areas? To me,
that short-term part,
that's where you need to be going, no. We are going to have people standing around doing nothing. If that's the way that it is, we need to make that investment so that when we are the franchise we hope to be, we have the foundation and infrastructure in place. And that begins with their ticket selling side of things and obviously their game day just
experience,
security and people to tell people where to go to the bathroom. And you have to assume that every new person coming into that building has never been there before, because there's a good chance they haven't been.
Yeah.
Right? They have lost fans due to attrition more than anything, i.e. their fans have physically died. And I mean, it sounds funny to say
that's actually,
but it's the truth. They had such a graying of their fan base over the last 30 years, and they are hitting that inevitable wall where that fan base is literally dying. And so, any new fans that we're bringing in, they've never been. It's not that we're bringing them back. It's not that they went away and we're convincing them to come back. They've never been here before. They have to take that.
I know, having
assumption.
Our kids are similar ages. My son's never been to a CFL game.
Yep.
And he wants to go. We've been to a Stingers game, we've been to a couple of Riverhawks games. He wants to go see those sports.
Right.
But not once has he said, "Hey, let's go to the Elks game."
Yeah.
Right. So they got to try and figure that out.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, no, and then that's to me where the fear of missing out is a big deal.
Exactly.
It's
so
you need to build that atmosphere.
About it,
yes,
and they got to be good. They got to win games. Ultimately,
well, and that's why we're looking at a Labor Day rematch. Also, that is, I think, trending upwards. But you got to build that part of it because it's then top of mind. Oh my God, people are going to this. I want to miss it. When the Ice Teca games happened,
awesome.
Canada Costa Rica happened, and it was a really good crowd. It was going well, but I think after that, all of a sudden, there's a lot of people that went, I missed out on this. And we saw the tickets then really start picking up for the Mexico game, and they sold over 50,000. It was going to be a sellout if we didn't get that snowstorm on the Monday. I firmly believe that. Yeah. But I also think that because there was such a fun crowd that came on that Friday with the Costa Rica match, there's a lot of people that went, oh boy, what's going on? Why wasn't I there?
Yeah.
And then they got their tickets. And then, so if you open up the upper deck, and then all of a sudden everyone disperses everywhere and that atmosphere breaks up a little bit, then does it create that still, or does it get out there that, well, you can't say you sold out? Like, does it have the same cachet going to the market saying we opened the upper bowl versus we sold out?
Yeah,
I think the sellout sounds better.
And celebrate the sellout.
We sold out.
Yeah.
We've eliminated
Although
the upper bowl.
It is also a potential punchline though too.
100%.
Right? Like when you go, we sold out, and people are like, what are you talking about? It seats 50,000. Like you didn't, like you get to say it's a sellout, but you actually shouldn't be celebrating, right? Like you can have the high fives in the ticket office and be like, we sold all the tickets they gave us to sell, but you probably shouldn't then also be going out there and being like, another sellout for us, because the public is not stupid. Right, the public is not going to.
But there are
because
some
we
that
all
don't
have
know.
TVs where they'll look and they'll be like, it's not sold out. Like it's clearly not sold out. Like so, I think you're half right in the idea of creating a scarcity is a good problem to have, but you also can't celebrate an imagined scarcity.
Yeah,
right?
but it's not. And to me, you're right. But there's a fine line between celebrating, but also just trying to get that message out there. We have no more tickets to sell. It's a sellout. And for those that have never been, maybe there are people out there that don't fully know that the whole thing. And if they throw on the game, TSN does a pretty good job with their tight cameras and stuff, that it's just lower bowl that you sometimes see, except on kickoffs and stuff, that maybe someone does flip by them. Oh, look at that sellout. But so it's not a celebrate. Like I wouldn't celebrate if I'm not going out there saying we sold 31,000. But it's how do you frame it? I think it's easier to get people to more interested in going, oh, what happened there, with it saying we sold out of all our tickets, as opposed to we opened up the upper deck, which is, oh, so what, you weren't selling tickets before?
Well, then maybe then instead of celebrating the sellout, you start celebrating the excitement you've created. So say, okay, people come early, buy tickets early, and we'll open up that upper bowl. Like maybe you can start the conversation to have that. Buy early, come early. Don't wait for game day to try and create some of that excitement. And
that's partly where I'm locking up. I'm not selling it then, because if you go back to immediately, we're close to sell a lower bowl, we're going to open up the upper bowl. We get back to I never have to make a decision. Yeah. Because no matter what, there's always going to be a ticket available for me.
I think you also need to stop. If I'm the Elks, I need to stop with the idea that family friendly is our key to success, and
it's not,
and start realizing that what killed this franchise was the moment you gave priority to your 20-year season ticket holder over your 20-year-old guy who just wants to get drunk. And
when they shut down CW's bar, was one of the biggest things, because that was that rum hunt from Winnipeg type thing. Yeah, you congregate there to drink and have a good time with your buddies.
I saw it firsthand. It was out of control, but the solution isn't
shut it down.
Prohibition.
Right.
The issue is, obviously we need to invest more in our security and bring in good security people. Like, I don't know, go get Patrick Swayze from Roadhouse, right? Like
you mean Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, exactly. But like, what was his pep talk that he had? Like, above all, we're going to be kind. Right? Yeah. Like, we're going to ask them to leave. And if they don't leave, we are going to act gently and above all. And then once they're outside like that, and it's that sort of, you need that idea that your customers are here. And as long as they are spending money and having a good time, we're going to do whatever we can to help them continue to do that until They are no longer doing that. And even then, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that they are still having a good time on their way out of the building. Like me personally, my dad took me to Eskimo games, 1, 2, maybe 3 a year, the old Safeway family huddle area. And it was fun, but it's not like as a kid I ever went home and was like, I can't wait for the next time we do this. However, when I was 19 years old and I had a group of 9 friends and we were smuggling literal 12 packs of beer in and having the greatest night of our life.
Ziploc bags of Jack Daniels.
Right, exactly. We couldn't wait for the next game. And your late teens and your entire 20s before you have kids of your own, that's your target audience, right? The people with time and money on their hands.
Well, isn't I agree with you totally. And aren't the Clippers doing something like that now in their new building?
They've created like a little supporter section. It's the wall, what they're calling it. And you have to be a Clippers fan. You can't transfer your tickets or something like that.
Yeah. And it's like, you come in early, so that's your spot you stand in. Like that is one of the, we've talked about how big that stadium is. You've got lots of room to create these sections.
Yes.
So create the sections. Like create these fan areas. Create these sections where if I have a 4 or 5 year old, that's not the section I'm going to sit in.
Right.
And if I do buy that ticket by accident, someone will take me to another section. Right.
Right. Exactly.
I don't really want to be here with all this going on. They're having a great time, but I don't really want. No problem. Come on over to this way.
Yeah.
Like I think because it's so big, you've got lots of room to do that.
You have the ability to be creative.
100%.
You're absolutely right. You need to, instead of seeing the big voids as a problem, you need to see it as an opportunity of reinvention. Because that's what this team and this town need, is the idea of we need to reinvent the experience. Because the experience that we used to have doesn't exist anymore, right? Like social media and better television deals have taken away the idea that we have to be there or else we can't see it, right? So now you have to ask them, you want to be there because you can't experience it anywhere else.
And Riverhawks are that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, there's no reason to, like, that isn't about going to see baseball.
Right.
Like, it's fun. Baseball's fun because you can sit there. It's a great sport to watch live. I love it. I don't watch it on TV. I love going to see games. But, like, the experience of going there and hanging out and the kids running on the field after, and, like, they've just created this thing.
Right. Well, it's in movies, you talk about the Hangout movie. Big Lebowski is the perfect example of that, in that you can have the Big Lebowski playing in the background of whatever is going on, and you can jump in and jump out of it as much as you want, and you can have that movie playing every day and still enjoy that it's going on in the background, right? You don't have to commit yourself to being invested in that kind of a movie.
It's also like another show that we're currently on.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of the design of this show. Right, this show is designed because I understand middays, when we were coming up with it, it's on in your background. If you're working, if you miss something, you miss something. You didn't miss anything really.
And so instead of the can't miss, you need to change it into a hangout. Yeah. And you're right. Riverhawks do that better than anyone else.
Yeah. What's the score in the game?
I don't know. It's a good hang.
I think we win. The Riverhawks. Yeah. No idea.
But that's always going to be the Elks will never be there because the Elks score matters. And it will always matter. And when the team goes on the road, people know when they lose or win football games still.
You're right.
Riverhawks, it doesn't. And that's the one challenge the Elks will always have for that, is that the result for them matters.
They're already going.
Those fans are already in the building.
They're in there already.
You have to convince the people who don't care to come.
Yeah.
And you can't convince them to care. Right? Like, you can't say, but the score matters, and they'll look at you and go, it doesn't.
It matters because it's exciting if they win.
But why aren't a lot of the people that don't show up? Partly is because, this isn't a winning football team. That's what they say, right? Whereas the Riverhawks this year were a winning baseball team. Last year they were not. They were a 500 baseball team, but people still, let's go. Whereas people, the average person didn't want to go to an Elks game because they didn't want a home game in number of years.
The
result mattered.
The result does
even for
matter.
The casual.
To a point, right? Like, we're not talking about how do you get them from 22,000 to 32,000. Yeah. We're talking how, once you get them to 32,000, what do you do with the rest of the space?
Right? If they're back to 30-some thousand on a regular basis,
You don't care about the rest of the space?
No, it's not that. I think it's not long till we're just talking 38, 39,000 on for Calgary, Saskatchewan games, and lower end being 32,000 for the other games. And I don't think there's a problem anymore.
I'm saying
this team is making money then at that point, and things are good. At that,
I'm saying,
anything
listen,
extra beyond that is gravy.
I have now an 18-year-old kid in my house, soon to be gone to university, but I watch how he and his peers try to put together a plan for a Friday or a Saturday night, and it is painful. Like unless their hand is being held, they don't know. Like COVID robbed them of those basic skills of how to get into trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Like they just don't know how to do it. And if I'm the Elks, that's an opportunity. If I'm the Elks, I'm saying, we'll hold your hand. We'll show you how to go to a section and create a beer cup snake. And because they've never seen it anywhere else, they would get addicted to that. They would get addicted to the convenience of going, all I have to do is buy a ticket. And I can do that. I can do that on my phone. Right. Once I'm there, something funny or interesting or whatever is going to happen. Right.
When we say the results don't matter, I think it can't be a guaranteed loss, which is what it was. So there has to be at least a chance of winning. Before the game happens, and I think it was a guaranteed loss for a lot of times. So I was like, they're going to lose anyway. But not just a loss, and I'm going to be bored.
Not just a loss, but an embarrassing way to lose. Like they would be like,
find a way.
Guess what we're going to do today?
Rip your heart out and
exactly. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to lead by 20 this time.
Oliver Stone. Have you seen this happen?
Willie Beeman is going to puke on the field and then do a front flip into the end zone. For the win. Exactly. That was exactly what was helping to the Elks over the last couple of years. It wasn't just that they were losing; it was that they were ripping the heart out of their fans while they did it. So,
we will have to see. But first, before that all happens, the Elks, they take on the Alouettes this Sunday, and a very big game for them.
Huge statement game. Are they for real or aren't they? Sort of. I mean, beating up on Hamilton is not really proving anything.
But it's three straight wins.
Hamilton can make worse decisions than they can.
Well, but how things have changed. It was only 3 weeks ago these two teams met, and Hamilton destroyed Edmonton. And they've just gone on completely different trajectories. But hey, for the Elks, they're a solid, good-looking football team. Ian and the Paris Jewelers Inbox, they need to fix the pricing. $100 a ticket right now in the lower bowl will not happen next year. I think you could get tickets for as low as $20 for an Elks game.
Especially on the resale market.
I think there's still you can go to Costco and you
the party deck. What is available right now on Ticketmaster? If this is, I'm hoping that just because other things sold out. The party deck is $27. Which is 18 plus. The Not Whole Gang, if you want to bring your kids, is $27 too. It does jump to $45 for an adult ticket in other spots. That's got to be lower. You got to be around the $20 mark, $25 mark, $30 to get in for anywhere.
You need to be able to take a family,
not just the family,
for $100.
Right, but for the kid, for that 20-year-olds, they're not paying $45 to go to a game.
No.
But so you got that party zone.
No.
But if you don't want to sit in that party zone, you want to sit in normal seats. It's got to be closer to a $30 price point, I would say, for that one. Billboard says tickets starting at $22. So I don't know where those would be in the stadium as of right now. But also there are tickets selling quite well for that game, so I don't know what's available and what isn't. So I will go with that. This is the EST Hangout. Matt, Wil Fraser, Scott, Laurie with you here. We've got the Esties coming up. September 17th. Are you familiar with the Esties?
I've heard of them.
Are you familiar with the Esties? Have you heard? September 17th, Metro Cinema. You can get your tickets. Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com is who you have to email. Just email me and we'll sort of tickets $10. Today we have the two categories that to be discussed. Best live musical performance of the year. We had Josh Clausen rapping on the Hangout a couple of times.
It's tough to beat.
Well, we had Dusty and Eric bring in the tuba guy. and they did the A&W song live.
Right.
You were here for that one, I think.
No, I was.
No, it was Evan.
No.
In spirit.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to remember.
Good point.
No, it was Evan Dom and Dave Jameson were hang out that day. That's what I remember, because I'm like, this is ridiculous what's happening over there. But there was Dusty, Eric, Trev, and the tuba guy that performed the A&W song live. So that's obviously going to be one of the nominees for best live musical performance of the year. If you have any other thoughts, Nasty Chat, Paris Jewelers Unbox, and then also the original AM Nasty song of the year. We've got plenty to choose from Jaunty and Victoria and Dallas and Nelson. I think the Nasty Bash song was going to have to go into that one.
It's really good. It's catchy.
Dusty did a good one with that one, so that's going to have to go in there as well. But those are the two latest categories to unveil. Tomorrow's a big one. Tomorrow's
a big one.
Well, Will, let me explain the ESTs to you. We have 4 major categories, like the Grammys have Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist. Tomorrow's one of the big 4 for us.
And it is.
We gotta wait till tomorrow. To find out.
The tease.
I guess I'll tune back in.
Today we're looking at
What a hook!
Today we're looking at the best live performance of the year and the original AM Nasty song of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
The song of the year is gonna be a tough one. There's so many good songs that have.
When does the nomination process stop?
Wednesday, August 28th.
Okay.
Because then I got to do the Google forms to send people to vote on.
So you're doing votes with nominations? Like, I would have thought they'd stop in June or something like that. Nothing.
No, like for things first year. So we start in September. So something can happen. So something can still happen.
So you're voting on stuff that is still.
Well, the votes aren't going to take place yet.
Oh,
once
okay.
So how this is working is we're sending a Google form to our Nasty Club annual members, and they're going to vote to whittle down.
I'm glad you're explaining
to
this.
list of the finalists.
Yeah,
good.
You assumed that people knew. You need to explain.
I thought you, but I didn't know where you were going with.
Don't
this.
make assumptions.
I just didn't know where you were coming from. So I will go until that Google Forms is done and sent out.
Yeah.
Anything could change.
Yeah.
I'm willing to add, subtract. We've come up with new awards. We will do a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I've settled in on that. EST Rookie of the Year, which is YouTube Trev, Zacticum, HR Daddy.
Will you do me a favor? And this just stays between the 3 of us.
Sure, no one else is listening.
No one else is
Not
here.
a single person.
Will you just do me the favor of changing the rules at random on one category just to watch Dustin lose his mind?
Which category?
I don't care. Any category.
Well,
if you can just randomly,
I'm going to throw this out there.
of the blue.
That impacts him. It has to impact him.
Exactly.
Yeah, just
something that he is really pumped about.
Invested
Make sure
in.
you just tweak the rules just a little bit.
I won't say I don't need to tweak the rules for this one. I was a little surprised when the discussion happened. For best show of the year, I figured Nielsen Show easy winner.
Yeah.
There was actually a lot of love for the Hangout.
Yeah.
And I think after the first year of the Hangout, because it's the first year of the Hangout too,
Sure.
that it could get the votes to maybe beat the Nielsen Show and upset the Nielsen Show.
Yeah.
And if that happens, I don't need to rig anything.
I don't need to rig anything.
The fallout will be fantastic.
But
I think that would be something. If Dustin
You're right.
and
You don't
Eric
need to. But promise me you still will.
Once
again, this is just between the 3 of us.
I make no promises. I make no promises. I'm making this above. I'm not even voting. I've removed myself from voting so that it's above board.
Are you doing it because that's the right thing to do, or
Yes.
are you doing it because you're pouting?
Why would I be pouting? I'm a champ, Will. I'm a champ. First place.
Trophy said so.
Yeah.
I also have the sauerkraut from our race at the Riverhawks game. I just keep winning.
Yeah. All I do is win. You and the New England Patriots. You and what are your other teams?
I'm not a Patriots fan.
Yankees.
He is totally a Yankees fan.
I'm a Yankee fan. Lakers fan. Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
Ravens fan. University of Miami Hurricanes football.
Yeah.
I also like Washington State Cougars football. Duke Blue Devils basketball.
It's weird.
What other big team can you name?
The only respectable one out of there is Ravens. That's respect.
Yeah.
But in the end, I respect all of them and I love all of them and I don't care what other people think.
That's actually a
Yankees haven't
respectable
won.
franchise.
Yankees haven't won since 09.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously too long.
Yeah,
It's massive trouble.
the amount of money they've dropped on it. Yeah.
They need better players.
They need to sign Juan Soto to $1 billion contract.
Yeah, they do.
Just wait, man. It'll happen.
And I'm fine with that.
How long till my boy Bobby Witt gets lured off to the Yankees?
If he's good enough, he'll come.
He's the best player in baseball.
Right now.
Yeah, going to be for the next 10
until that elbow gives way or whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to Mike Trout about being the best.
True. True.
We've got Juan Soto. We're good.
Doesn't get you a lot.
$1 billion from the Yankees.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Johnny Albert in the nasty chat. Manchester United is very respectable with the smiley face.
No, it's
yes,
not.
it is, Johnny. You know what's right.
Who's your owner?
Jim Ratcliffe.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Jim Ratcliffe?
These are not good people.
He's going to build a brand new stadium, $2 billion stadium for Manchester United. They're also going to renovate Old Trafford for, I think, the women's team. And on top of that, did you see the signings they made this summer?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Just throwing
business.
money's at problems.
No, actually not. They were very good at spending properly and not overspending for players.
Yeah.
Made some really shrewd moves.
Shrewd.
Yes.
I don't think they should leave Old Trafford.
It would hurt.
I think that's the wrong decision.
Well, but
Fix Old Trafford.
They are about making money.
I know,
and
but
the thing is,
nothing else.
what they want to do, well,
have
so
some
they want.
This is
Well, they
what-
want to,
But this is what makes them a terrible team.
No, I guess
And
a lot of people in
franchise.
Manchester want this too. Like they're good with it. They're happy.
And
with
they're
the
bad
stadium.
people too.
It's Old Trafford would stay. Old Trafford would stay.
New Trafford?
It's still Yankee Stadium.
And that was a mistake too.
Old Trafford is like they'll renovate, they'll do the right things to it to keep it around. But a brand new stadium. The thing is, from a football perspective, they want to build a stadium like SoFi Stadium and also use it for more concerts and things like that, which would bring the club more money, which actually gives them the ability to go spend more money in the transfer market.
Gives them the ability. They'll always spend more money.
But there's the rules. There's the fair play rules. Like
Percentage
if
of transfers.
yes, and money. And so if they have a stadium where they get more money in through it, they could actually now go spend a little bit more without having to sell players. And so from that setting, but they want to find a way, because they have like this full committee to keep the old with the new and stuff. So I don't think it's going to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
When they're playing
much as
9
I do have to
games.
get
It feels just.
I know,
It
and I like it's one of those now. It's like I got to get to Old Trafford before
Yeah,
they
you
leave
do.
Old Trafford
Yeah, you
because
do.
I need to see Manchester United at Old Trafford.
When they're playing 9 games a year in Saudi Arabia or the UAE, we'll know what happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we're building New Trafford in the. It's in Qatar.
Johnny
It'll be ready in
Alberta.
4 months.
Johnny Alberta adding, what sports team actually has a humanitarian as an owner? Which isn't.
a humanitarian as an
Like,
owner?
they all have their issues. We could all point
Green
issues.
Bay Packers are a community-owned team.
And so there's a lot of bad people in there. I guarantee it. They have so many owners. I guarantee a few of them are bad.
There's a percentage.
The guy that got tased this morning might be a Green Bay Packer owner.
Actually, there's probably a good chance. There's a lot of Green Bay Packer fans around here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so don't give me that one. And when do we find out Man City gets kicked out of the league? Like that'll ever happen?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
They'll get
They'll get point
fined.
deductions.
Like,
They'll
I don't even
point-
think they'll get that.
They'll get point deduction.
They'll get like a 3-point deduction or something. Nothing that's going to hurt them.
It'll be mid-table, just enough to keep them on the outside of Champions League.
I'd
and
be
in Europa.
stunned if they're mid-table with it. I don't believe. I think it's gonna. I'm of the mindset it's gonna be like a $1 million fine.
Wouldn't you
And that's
love
it.
like they should-
Wouldn't you love
they
to
should
see them
lose
get
titles.
relegated?
They shouldn't. I don't think they. Yeah. Well, it'd be amazing.
It'd be
I mean, they
awesome.
did it to Rangers.
Right. Yeah.
We were in the very
Juventus had it.
bottom of
Yeah.
Scotland and had to work our way back.
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Juventus with the gambling scandal got sent to Serie B.
Yeah. Not only would it be great to
115
see,
charges.
but like to see what they would do. In Champions,
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well, Pep would leave.
Yeah. That is what makes football better is relegation.
For sure.
Right? Like that there are consequences.
We talked about that last time I was on. Like, if there was a way to somehow
Yeah.
do that
In every sport.
North American
Yeah.
sport.
What it does, like we were talking earlier about the Sharks and going and getting back, you can't go the route of let's be as bad as possible because you're now out of the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to find a way to turn around quicker because otherwise you get relegated. That's the benefit
then
of
you-
having promotions relegation is that you can't just we'll tear this down and rebuild it.
Yeah. And then all the money, like the financial implications of those, even just the playoff games to get into the first
Yeah.
division of the Premier Leagues. Like
But it's also why football will never die. Football is not experiencing the problems that North American sports is, in that North American sport, I like hockey more than anything else, but we're seeing it in basketball now as well. I don't know if we'll see it in football. Football's just, American football's a different beast.
Yeah.
And we've definitely seen it in baseball, which is rich kids are the ones that are moving on, because rich kids are the only ones who can afford the costs of elite athlete performance. And so when you have a draft system, it puts the burden and the onus on the development, on the families of those kids who want to play. Whereas in football, now maybe it's not the greatest environment seeing your 10-year-old go away to an academy somewhere, but if he gets identified in the schoolyard, a Juventus or whoever is going to come along and be like, we'll pay for everything.
Yeah, come on over.
And you know what? Hockey had that. My father-in-law, who has passed, told me the day that he got pulled out of grade 9 social studies to sign a contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Crazy.
Right? And from then on, he was Toronto Maple Leafs property, and they paid for all of it.
Yeah.
Right? He went and played for the Melville Millionaires. Why? Because that was the Maple Leafs property. Right?
Yeah.
And then went and the fact that his parents didn't have to pay for the travel, pay for the coaching, pay for the sticks, and all that kind of stuff, allows the true athletes, the truly special athletes, to kind of filter the way up. And we're seeing the death of that. Like, basketball is wild right now. When you look at the names of the kids that are going to, like, that are 5-star recruits and stuff like that, all of them sound familiar. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, wait a minute. I remember watching his dad play for that school. I remember watching his dad play for my favorite NBA team or whatever. Like, you're not being surprised anymore by the kids that are coming out of it, because they have a genetic lineage to it. And it's not because genetics is the reason, it's because their parents are the ones that had the money, right? So
they paid for the coaching,
exactly, paid for the camps, all that. Yeah. So that, if you could do a regulation system where you were elevated when you had great seasons in lower leagues, and you were relegated down when you had terrible seasons, and there was no incentive for you to be bad, that you actually just had to invest in your scouting and your draft and your development and all of that, it would revolutionize sport in this country. It would absolutely revolutionize sport. You would have so many more kids playing organized sport because it was actually being organized. Yeah. Right? Right now, it's kind of disorganized sport. It's whatever fiefdom gets to control whatever minor hockey, baseball, basketball sort of group. I mean, talk to any parent who has a kid who wants to play volleyball these days, and they spend half their time playing on a club team. Right? And they have to pay money into it, and they have to sign into it.
Well, and then you can't play on your high school team because you're playing club. And like it all these weird little rules to stop kids from playing as much as they want.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, instead of just, you can play on a Tuesday as well. Great. Go play on a Tuesday. Oh, I can't play on a Tuesday because that's a different organization, and I've signed with these people. Because those organizations
are only concerned about their organization. There is not a larger group that's like, no. We need more people playing, like more chips into the old bingo drum, right? Like, let's see what happens when we keep adding competition, which is what you have in European football. You have kids that are just playing gazillions of hours of football because their contract says that they need to play as much as possible. Yeah.
I need to get to Road Warriors, which is presented by AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers, custom manufacturing heavy haul trailers for mining, oil and gas, equipment, and highway transportation. Quality, innovation, integrity, trusted by the leaders in the heavy transport industry. Get on the road with peace of mind for your large loads. AccuSteel.ca. Looking in the schedule for today, nothing. It's still, we're just still in that little quiet time. NFL's not fully there yet. CFL's not till the weekend. We do have Monday Night Football over across the pond.
When is the waiver deadline
Leicester
in
and
Major League
Tottenham.
Baseball? Is that coming up here?
The non-waiver deadline?
Yeah, the one on non-waiver deadline.
For the trades. Waiver. Well, that's trade deadlines happen in baseball.
No, but there's
that second one. There's the waiver deadline.
Waiver deadline.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's closer to play. It's not yet.
Yeah.
There's also some Italian soccer underway right now. Lecce is taking on Atalanta, 0-0, 14th minute. Oof. We got Juventus and Como later today. That's what's happening.
Now, are these just friendlies?
Madrid,
and then La Liga.
They're real.
No,
good
that's
now. They're full. They're starting. Madrid played on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
They lost, I think.
Drew. I think they got a draw. There's some leagues have started, like Wrexham, which is the team a lot of people want to follow.
They're 1-1.
What a marketing!
It's awesome.
It's incredible. My
wife doesn't watch soccer.
It's a dream marketing move.
And like I love it because like how they explained the pyramid, which is confusing.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could watch Ryan Reynolds all day. Yeah. Right. Like he's just like the show was great, and it brought so many people. Like when we went over, my wife's like, can we get down there? Can we go to Wrexham?
Yeah.
And it was just too far for us
Wales.
to go.
Yeah.
But.
And apparently very hard to get tickets.
Sure.
Well, no, but even just to go to the turf, like go sit in the pub and go wander around the sites of it. Like, I mean, they created this whole new excitement. It's genius. It's genius.
1 win, 1 draw.
Yeah.
They opened with a win to start, and then Bolton they drew this weekend. They're also they lost a first round Carabao Cup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do now when they're really going to have to start spending a lot of money.
Yeah, like I still see them. I think that they could get in a couple years 2 championship. I think they could make the jump relatively quickly there. Then it gets really difficult because you're going up against people. It's real money.
Real money.
You're going up against former Premier League clubs. 3 teams just got relegated from the year prior.
And it's also not you can't make money at that level.
No.
You can only lose money and hope that your franchise value outpaces the amount of money you're losing.
Yeah, like they'd have to get new investors. They'd have to kind of get bigger. You know, like it. Right now they're in that sweet spot. They're in the perfect league.
Yes,
probably right now for their size, right?
Yeah.
Once they get their stadium finished and
the one thing though that also like all the people following Wrexham will have to learn is that as they go up to goodbye to players. Yeah. Those players aren't good enough for those higher levels, so you got to bring in other players. So some of the players that you fall in love with.
Does anyone know how much the Whitecaps had to pay to get them to come and play a friendly?
I don't know.
That would It's that.
Well,
it's that sort like Wrexham right now. Like that's where you can make money is on the friendly side.
Well, their tickets were. We had Dean Belanger come on the Nasty Chat or the Hangouts a few weeks ago because he went to that game.
Yeah,
and he was talking with some people from Wrexham and stuff and. Prices are ridiculously high here in North America for those Wrexham tours. Yeah, because they're
it's marketed.
Well, and they could shoot up those prices, and North Americans are used to paying those higher prices. And it was the people overseas like, what kind of pricing is this?
Yeah, and
they're stunned by all of that.
But but that's the parent clubs that get to make money off of that, so they have to pay. Basically, Wrexham is. Britney Spears, right? You are booking an act to come in and play your team. So I'd like to know, what is their booking fee?
There is that, but there's also a level of, for Wrexham, you do have your preseason tours. Yeah. And you get to go showcase yourself across. Right. Canada and the U.S., sell your merch, bring your stuff there. But you
usually get a set fee to come.
But there's also a value in Wrexham for this too, where it might, I could see it being a ticket share type thing almost.
Mm-hmm. Wrexham could have stayed in the States and played 5 or 6 games against MLS teams and all that kind of stuff, and would have made a bunch of money. But I'm sure Vancouver.
This will be the
MLS.
Bringing it back to Canada, this will be the interesting thing about what's happened with Canada Soccer on their men's side, is that they used to have to pay to be able to go and play other top tiers, and they just didn't have the money for it. Well, they are now at a level competitively and international recognition enough that those prices aren't the same. They can actually go out and go into different teams and play better.
Well, Canada Soccer is still we're not in a position where we could pay for people to come here and play a friendly here in Canada.
No, but
we get paid to go there.
That's what I'm saying.
When we went to France and Netherlands before the Copa, they paid Canada.
That's what I'm saying.
They see value in playing Canada.
Our players are playing in their leagues. Yep. So the French can recognize.
Well, not only that, but they're good enough competition that you get something out of playing Canada. Value, right? You actually, it's a proper tune-up. Yep. Right?
Instead of beating up on somebody.
Well, exactly. Instead of just risking injury, which is what you take into account, right? Where you're just kind of well, if we're not getting anything from this, and there's a chance that we're going to hurt one of our players, why would we do this, right? There has to be something from it. Yeah, and sometimes it's just making the money. But yeah, the fact that like Netherlands, for example, has interest in playing Canada is a quantum leap
for sure.
The talent that team gets to face in the tune-up for the next World Cup.
And they're going to have to, because they're not qualifying, they're going to have to play these teams.
Right.
But I don't know if there's, but the problem with that is they're all qualifying. So is there there's no windows to play those teams. It's a lot more difficult to find those windows. I think you're going to see a lot of Canada, Mexico, U.S. playing each other.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing either, actually, because it's that whole sort of like high tide floats all boats sort of thing. Like the quality of the Mexican side has come a ton, right?
No, they're dropping. They're dropping.
But from what CONCACAF used to be, which was a laughing stock, to where it is now, you have teams from South America going, I don't know if we actually want to go up there. Like that they actually put some sort of fear into those South American squads. We have never experienced that. It used to be that if you were a Panama or, well, no, Panama's CONCACAF. If you were
Ecuador?
Uruguay, for example. If you were a Uruguay, you would be like, we'll go kick in some heads in CONCACAF. That doesn't bother us at all. And whereas now they're like, oh no, we might get embarrassed, and we might get embarrassed 3 straight games if we go up there, which is a big difference from what we used to have in CONCACAF.
For sure. I think they need to. I think they need to play outside of CONCACAF to get, because I think you can.
It's different
Canada,
style.
But it used to be, let's go play New Zealand,
For sure.
right? Like, and it's like, no. Now it's
like play. It's a different. I think the World Cup showed that Canada just wasn't ready for that stage.
Sure.
Like they were like, okay, we're pretty good. We feel really good. We won CONCACAF. We can beat the States. We can beat the Mexican.
Well, they didn't have the manager for it at the time.
No.
Which is, and Matt and I have talked about it. Like, what you take away from Copa is that they have the best manager they've ever had.
100%.
As a nation. Like, and the level of professionalism and even his ability to deal with the media.
He's actually in Edmonton last week.
He is.
Jesse Marsh.
Jesse Marsh.
There was something happening. I saw a picture that he was in Edmonton.
Real. Like,
he's going all those grassroots level things, and he's really like buying into this stuff.
That's the MLS pay that they're paying him to get him to be the coach, right? This is that other piece that they're the consulting fee to go around the country.
When he answered that question after USA had fired their manager, and he had been in the running before that.
The fans wanted him.
Well, certain fans wanted him, not all of them, and they asked him for his thoughts. And his you couldn't have crafted a better response when he goes, I wish them luck in their search. It was that sort of like it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a hard time getting anything better than me. Yeah. Right? Like,
did you see who they got?
No.
Poch.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's in agreement. They haven't signed anything yet, but Pochettino is going to go to the US apparently. Yeah.
Interesting.
It will be interesting. Like he's
that feels like throwing money at a problem.
Sure.
It is great manager, but never won.
No.
He doesn't have a real he has I think 1 or 2 trophies with PSG, but I don't think did he win the league? I think he won the league once with them.
Yeah.
But he had Messi.
Yeah.
And Neymar. And who was the other one there that they had? But he had players at PSG. Oh, Mbappe. I'm forgetting Mbappe. And didn't even do enough.
No.
Just couldn't get enough done. Or maybe he wasn't there with... Yeah, he would have been there.
Messi. Yeah.
With Messi, when Messi came. Yeah. No, Pochettino apparently in agreement to go to the U.S. So
another guy who has no idea of what CONCACAF is about?
CONCACAF, sorry. Yeah.
Doesn't have that. He's a good...
Enjoy the turf.
Sorry,
the Turks and Caicos.
What's happening?
It's been a long time since he was, with Tottenham and did some really good things. He won the league with PSG once. He won the cup in France once, and that in Chelsea, his honors is he was the runner-up for something. With Tottenham, his honors on Wikipedia, runner-up.
Man, that just makes them
for this type of manager with who we manage. It's he's a great manager.
Canada went out and brought somebody in.
How he does it with the U.S. though,
with a certain amount of pedigree, not outstanding pedigree, but a guy who understood the system. Yeah. Not only that, but actually knew some of the players. Had seen them over the last couple of years in one situation or another, and most importantly, understood the difficulty of the task.
Yeah.
Right? Which is part of the problem with bringing in a Poch is that he has no idea how hard this is going to be. He has no concept. He just looks at CONCACAF and goes, well, it's a terrible league. Like, I guess everyone just sucks. And it's like, it's not so much that, man. It's crazy is what
grind.
it is. Yeah, like
The thing for him that, like, what America loses out on, Canada got it, thankfully, because I was scared we weren't going to, is the next major tournament they have really is the World Cup.
Yep.
There is the Gold Cup next year, but whatever, Nations League, whatever. Jesse Marsh got to go through a major tournament to see what his team is.
Yeah.
Yes.
To get ready for the World Cup.
Not only that, but his
doesn't
team
get
got
into
to
that.
learn everything about him.
Yeah.
Right?
So-
And they got to see him stand up for them.
But in the match, in the middle of the match, Pochettino, look, better than Jesse Marsh overall, career-wise, right?
Yeah, no.
But we'll see if it translates.
I actually
to the
don't
national
think
team.
I just don't think those matches are won and lost in game.
Yeah.
Those matches are won and lost 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Right? And how you prep, how you get guys to show up and make sure that when they show up, they're ready to
and
contribute.
convince their teams, their clubs to let them out early and to be fully fit. And this is how I want to use this, no problem. Like, it's such a sales job.
Yeah.
That
Not only that, but also understands that, like, you can't play the same way at Azteca as you do in Atlanta, for example, right? Like, that you are going to need to bring different squads to different buildings and sort of play different styles.
Well, but he doesn't have to do that. Again, his next big is the World Cup.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about going on the road necessarily. It's about getting ready for the World Cup.
You're right, because it's not life and death to qualify.
And
you're right.
There's no
that
qualifying.
does
He's
take
right there.
the pressure
He's
off a
right
little
there.
bit. Yeah.
That will wrap up the Hangout for today. Coming up next, it is the Lock Shop. Huss, Pat, and Jake will be on, and then at noon it's the Oil Stream, myself, and Zach to come as we get closer to the deadline of that Oilers offer sheet, or the Blues offer sheet that the Oilers have till 7:29 tomorrow morning to match or let Broberg/Holloway go on to the St. Louis Blues. Scott, Will, thanks for coming in. This was great.
Thanks, buddy.
for having us.
We'll hopefully try to do it again more. And
Once again, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Big win.
Just
really happy.
Careful with that.
Thank you.
It's pretty heavy.
I will. Well, it's all gold.
Yeah.
As we said, and maybe I will clean it later and drink from it later.
You should.
But
yeah.
I appreciate that. Will.
Yeah.
Scott,
exciting.
thank you.
Well earned.
Appreciate
well earned as
thank-
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
16 under.
Yeah.
Yeah. The team is very happy about it.
Yeah.
They were. Three-peated.
Wow.
Ish.
That's almost dynasty territory.
I got 2 of the 3 trophies. So one doesn't have a club on it, but I got 2 out of 3 trophies. So. Thanks for tuning into the Hangout. Really appreciate it. And for everyone jumping in the Nasty Chat and the Parish Jewelers inbox. Like I said, up next it will be the Lock Shop. On behalf of Scott, Will, and Matt, thanks for tuning in, and I will talk with you at noon.
Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola.